I'm Peggy Lowry, coming to you today as NCURA's Peer Review Program Coordinator. I'm happy to share with you today a few of the themes that we've found as we've conducted our peer reviews. And the topic that I want to talk to you about is policies. Policies come up quite a bit when we do our peer reviews, and we find that there's several aspects of policies that I'd like to chat with you about. In fact, I took a few notes to share with you some of the points. So let's start with the first aspect, which is policy development. So often in our institutions, we occasionally have to crush through a policy and get it out immediately. But when thinking about policy development, it's so important to involve the stakeholders in putting policy together. So as you think about that involvement, you want to consider your faculty first and foremost who are impacted by the policy, as well as your department administrators who support the faculty in their units. Always involving the academic administration in policies and how they might need to respond to policies is a good step. Those are some of the areas we found in our peer reviews in terms of policy development. The second area I'd like to chat about is implementation. Of course, with some policies, we have to just immediately get them out. But giving everybody in your community an opportunity to know a policy is coming is actually a good heads up and lets everyone begin to prepare to change behavior that's going to be impacted by the policy. So as you think about implementation, communication obviously is a key step to implementation, and communicating through the different avenues of the institution. So you may find a sponsored programs office is communicating, as well as an academic leadership is communicating. And clearly your unit level administrators are crucial in understanding the policy and helping their stakeholders be prepared for the change that occurs. The third point that I'd like to chat about is access. So once we have policies, how people can access the policies is absolutely critical. Through the peer reviews, we found that a number of institutions have challenges with putting the policies together in an easily accessible format. So as you think about your policies, consider where they're housed and how easy it is for the stakeholders in your community to access them. If you have your policies on the website, like we found with many of the institutions we visited, make sure that the policies are clearly labeled, kept up to date, and that it's easy to get to the policies in one or two layers as opposed to going through multiple layers to get to the policies. The final aspect that I'd like to talk about is maintenance. We all struggle with keeping policies up to date. One of the recommendations we find we're frequently making through the peer reviews is to establish a regular cycle of reviewing your policies. Really stepping back, making sure your policies are really reflecting the practices. What we found is that oftentimes we write a policy, we put it in place, and then we find our behaviors and procedures change over time, and suddenly we've drifted away from the policy. So policies often are what we're audited against and what the standard that we should be holding ourselves to. So consider that cycle of reviewing your policy, making sure that everything's clear and up to date in terms of what we're doing. Those are a few of the things that we found with our peer review in the area of policies. Thank you.